You're listening to Biz-Souls, the business podcast with an edge, hosted by me, Rona Lewis, and Jeffrey Hansler. Tune in for perspectives and discoveries about the changing world of business. It's time to connect to the heart, soul, and humor of how business gets done. Hello, all you playful peeps out there. Welcome to Biz-Souls. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler, and we get to the heart and soul of business and the people that make it happen.
We have a fun, playful person today, Jeffrey. She is a new friend of mine who I met at the Playposium that I went to this past year. Was it this year? It was like early. I can't believe it. Okay, so let me read your official introduction. Laura Haver is an expert in play, communication, and well-being. She is on a global mission to inspire people of all ages to live more playfully, vibrant, and fulfilling lives. Laura joyfully shares her expertise as an author, speaker, life, book, and energy coach. She's helped thousands of people to experience more fun, fulfillment, and joy in their lives. Her book, Play Together, which we will talk about in a minute, games and activities for the whole family to boost creativity, connectedness, and mindfulness, came out recently with Penguin Random House. Laura has been featured on the Today Show, Fox, CBS, and many more media types. She lives in San Diego with her family. You can probably find them playing somewhere fun. So Laura, I love another play person.
Yay!
Welcome.
And I can already tell she's great because her plant is thriving and doing well. You can tell a lot when somebody has a dead plant next to them. Oh, that's right. I have one next to me. All right.
Yeah.
So Laura, I get to ask the first question, except I'm so impressed that you've got Penguin publishing your book. It is such a hard process. So we can talk about that later. So what'd you want to be when you grew up? Is this what you saw yourself doing?
I wanted to be a singer. My first thing I wanted to be was a singer. And then I wanted to be one of those, those singers and dancer actors, like the Mickey Mouse Club, those kind of shows. I just always loved doing that. And I wanted to be a writer. That was another part. I want to be an author. So I got one of them.
Check.
The next Taylor Swift is soon to come, right?
Yeah. I just loved it. I don't know. There's something so fun just about, I was always dancing and singing and making videos with my dad when I was little.
That's awesome. So do you think that kind of bled into what you're doing now?
Oh, 100%. It's so interesting when you think back and you look at your life and you're like, how did I get here? And I'm always so fascinated. That's why I love your guys' podcast, where you just dive into different people, what they're up to, how they got where they are. It's so interesting because we all have our different pieces that we're drawn to, and then we have our different talent set. And I find it so fascinating to look back at how the layers built on to get you in this spot where we are, especially now when, as I'm getting a little older, I have more back more time to build on it. It makes sense when you look back,
Of course. So that's Jeffrey, did you want to ask?
Well, I want to say, how did that lead to here? And I think you were going to ask a similar question or the same question.
Yeah, I was.
How'd you transition from singer, songwriter?
What's your story, basically?
Okay. All right. So let me think. So what do I got? So I studied communication. I was an athlete. So first I want to do theater and singing and all that stuff. And I did a play in third grade. I was Mrs. Claus. I sang all these things and it was an amazing experience. But then I really got into tennis and I couldn't really do both. In high school, you couldn't do sports seriously and theater seriously. It was you had to choose one. So at that point I chose tennis and I played competitive tennis. I ended up playing in college and that was my first job. I was a tennis coach. And at my first job, I was at the neighborhood tennis club I worked. And I was teaching tennis to these little kids. And I remember we were playing this game. We just made it up. It was called ketchup and mustard. So Rona, you were just playing tennis. So here's the game. The kids would line up on the side. I'd feed 3 running forehands. If they make it, they would yell ketchup. Everybody would yell ketchup. If they missed it, everyone would yell mustard. And they thought this was the most fun game they've ever played in their lives. But it was basics tennis 101. It was running forehands, running backhands. They would beg me for it. And so early on, I was so blessed to learn that people learn best through play. And it's not just for kids. It's true with us adults. When we think the things that we love and we dive into, like maybe when you guys were first creating this podcast, it's like, how do I do this? This is so fun. I love messing with the sound system. I love editing. I love meeting people, and so it just held these different pieces. So I started coaching tennis, and then it just kind of built from there.
Nice.
Now, did you know
And
that,
as a
Rona?
tennis player, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah, you just got back from tennis. So did you know
I did.
that she did?
Yeah.
Did you know she did tennis?
I didn't. I knew she was an athlete because that was one of the things that we bonded over Playposium, because we're both jocks, basically, both athletes. Didn't you play competitive? What did you play competitive?
Yeah, so I played tennis in college. I played for Ohio State. I had a scholarship, was awesome. We had like the whole run. We were, really strong team. And then I played pro beach tennis. So that's probably what you might be thinking of.
Yeah.
Beach tennis. And people are like, what's beach tennis? It is, imagine badminton on like a beach volleyball court with a slightly lower net, no bounce, double. So my sister and I played pro beach tennis when I first moved to San Diego. It was really fun. We played all around the world. United States sounds popular here, but it's really popular around the world.
Wait, would the ball even bounce off the sand?
No bounce, no bounce. So imagine, have you ever played tennis?
So it's more like badminton, right? As you said, now I get it. Okay, got it.
I know it's hard to wrap your mind. It's super fun as a tennis player. It's like all, white and quiet, and beach tennis is like music, and you can play in your, bikinis, and you're just like running around, and it's like super fun.
I always love running around the beach on a bikini. So
I know.
Is that going to be in the Olympics? Is that
so? That's what you're touching on the story. So I played pro, then I ended up quitting, and I was like getting married, having kids, and then I just rediscovered beach tennis again when it was going to be part of this Anarch World Beach Games. It's like a pre-Olympics. It was going to be right here in San Diego. And I was like, what? I'm going to start playing again. So I had a son and a baby. I had two kids. So one of my youngest was a baby. I'm like, I'm doing this again. I'm going to make it to the Olympics. Are you kidding me? And so anyways, we're supposed to be here. And then they downsized it. They moved it overseas. They only had the top team instead of the top two teams, which I might have had a chance at. And that's sort of when I had this transition, like, okay, I'm not going to do that. What do I want to do? Like, what's next for me? And I had to sit with that for a long time, and that's when I was like, I'm going to get back into my writing and my speaking and my coaching career. And so it kind of came from that. So, I'm trying to compress a lot of time into a short call, the short podcast, but it was really fascinating and really interesting because I learned for myself for a while as a new mom. As much as I love my kids and I love playing, like I loved it, I wanted to be a mom always. I found myself just sort of going through the motions. And, for anyone listening who might not have kids or might be doing something else, this might apply to like your job, to your overall life, like, to your health, other things where you just find yourself like, what? This doesn't make sense. Like, I don't see other people kind of struggling. And especially as a tennis coach, I knew a lot of parents and a lot of kids. And I'm like, they didn't seem to have such a hard time with it, but they probably did. They just aren't going around talking about it, So I was like, what can I do? And when I found beach tennis the second time, it really gave me permission. Like, there's no way I'm saying no to that. There's no way I'm saying no to a chance to play in the Olympics or a pre-Olympic game.
Heck yeah.
And so when I went for that, it was amazing. But then when that got just kind of like thwarted, worked out perfect because then it turned into COVID. I wasn't wanting to travel around the world and compete and stuff like that. And so since then, I really made it my mission to help other people give permission to themselves, to do something that's important for them. And just because I got lucky that it was such a big thing, otherwise I wouldn't have done it for myself. I would have just been home all the time. And so now I share the research, I share stories. I'm bringing it to every direction I can because I know the difference. I know you guys know the difference it makes when you do something for yourself, when you light yourself up, like when you're lit up in your own life, it bubbles over and you can share it with other people. And not only that, you can do everything you have to do with ease. So I think that's why companies like hiring me because I help people do stuff off work time that helps them be better at work. So they're like, come on in. I'm sure you guys experience this too.
Yeah, that's why I always say I don't believe in a work-life balance. It's just, work is part of life. So it's about life balance. And that's what play does. It helps with, bring that joy for life into your work.
So did your corporate training start you in, was that where you started for learning and development phase for corporate training, was play?
It really was. I mean, I worked before in leadership and development. And so I used to do programs like that and through my old company where I worked at, I got trained in that and I did it back in the day. And And now, yeah, it just opened up. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm passionate about. And you know how it works sometimes, like opportunities just start opening up. And it's like, like sometimes you don't even plan it.
Right. So
These synchronicities.
What was the company? What kind of company was it that you worked for, that you started in learning and development?
Oh, I worked in a digital marketing agency. My first job, I was the third employee of a company, of startup, and then we grew and grew into be like one of this big company. And it was amazing. So I got to be trained in different things. And then I ended up becoming, outside of my own job, I became a leader and I helped other people with that. Like I just am always, as I'm a coach really, is who I am as a person, right? Like I told you, my first coaching job back when I was in high school. And so I love learning and taking it in and then finding fun, playful ways to share it with other people.
So who do you find is most open to what you do? Because it's not just, I mean, you do corporate, you also do like community centers and families and things like that.
Yeah, because my book is geared towards families, I go and I'll do like school visits with my book, or I'll do, go to Girl Scouts, which is really fun to me to be like in a whole room of all girls because I have 2 boys, so it's so fun to just like get some awesome, hang out with a bunch of girls. And I just think who's the most open that's a good question. I think people that are feeling stuck, they're like, I've tried a bunch of things, they're just, and a lot of times it's people through the community, right? So a lot of times it's through this referral process. People are like, oh, hey, you should talk to my friend Laura, or hey, my old coach Dada, you should work with her, or companies, and then, people will find me on my like speaking, booking agency and things like that. But a lot of times what I notice, and I'd be curious for you too, Rona, is that when I talk about play for adults, most of the time adults are just like, they're like, okay, whatever, like that's for kids, okay, sure, I'll do it if I have the time, right? Either they have no idea what they like to do for fun anymore for themselves, or they do, but they just don't have time.
Yeah.
And so what I've really, it kind of is a sneak peek of what I'm working on now, is I'm working on my second book, which
nice.
is for adults. And so I think introducing play to adults sometimes is a little bit too much. And so I'm like, okay, what is it that I do that makes the difference? It's bringing a playful mindset to whatever it is you're actually doing. So I just completed I did like a group coaching program over the summer where I trained people in my framework that I'm pulling out for my next book. So that's actually what I'm working on right now. Like before this call and after this call, going back to hitting the pages and cranking out the new book.
Nice.
Bring it to your life.
It's Jeffrey, do you want to ask a question, or?
I was going to say, should you have a copy of the book handy? She can hold it up.
Yeah, well, here's my first book. This is my first book, Play Together. My new one is just, it's on the computer on my other side of here, but this is my first book. And this book actually came together COVID when families were stuck at home. I was just like, I really felt for them. This is all marked up for all these things I'm looking at. And I was just like, what should I do? And so I wanted to help families, have like my background in coaching. And so I just started making up a game every day. And I posted it on my social media with my boys. I had no idea it was a book. I was actually writing a different book at the time. And it just had this energy about it. Like I collaborated with different people around the world to make different games and just wanted to help people be connected, right? Because all the research shows that connection is the #1 piece to overall well-being. Relationships, having good, you don't even need a lot. You can even just go talk to your barista, or when you're checking out at the grocery store, be like, hey, how's your day? These little things, So I created these games, and now it had this energy, and it turned into this book, and now it's been shared around the world. It just turned 1. My book just turned 1, so I took it out. A birthday date, I buckled it in next to me, and we drove around town. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Well, and today's my mom's birthday, so it's a birthday all around. She's not here anymore, but she's there. She's working on it, from the other side. But so tell us a little bit more about what you really want to do. Like, what's your ultimate goal here?
Well, my ultimate goal is just for people to be themselves and to wipe away these layers that have been built up over time. Right? Like you're on the playground when you're a kid and here's my example. I'm on the playground and I'm singing Whitney Houston. What's that? I forgot the song all of a sudden. It's the one from the Olympic Games back in the day. And I'm just belting it out at this school assembly. And because I'm like an athlete, I like love the Olympics and I wanted to be a singer. I already told you guys, right? So I'm just like, singing this song and everyone looks at me like, what? You can't talk. Like, what are you doing, Laura? You're singing way too loud. Like, take it easy. get it together. Like this is an assembly. And in that moment, I was like, ooh, it's not safe. I didn't say that to myself, but it was like, ooh, I better not do this. I better not show up like this. Like, and these little moments happen over our life, and we just get like, bloop, bloop, bloop. We just get like, for those of you listening, I'm just kind of like shrinking in and like going small. And so I like to wipe away these things and let us return to ourselves, to our beautiful, joyful, silly, goofy, interesting, unique, quirky selves. Because when we're ourselves, people are like drawn to us. They want to be around us, and we don't have to carry around all these tolerations and all these baggages and all these pieces. So we just get to be.
So when you're working with adults, then do you see the transition when they go from, because they've got that roadblock in their head, oh, I can't do this, I can't do this, it's not safe, and then all of a sudden they start engaging and playing and opening up? Do you see? I mean, what creates that, or do you see that?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I got the chills because it's like my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing. Like that first little opening, right? And it happens a little bit different way for everybody because everyone's play style is so unique. Like one person, Rona, you'll love this one, started taking an improv class on a weekly basis. All it took was one improv class, and suddenly she was like, I wake up giddy. Oh my gosh, I can't wait. And then she couldn't wait for Friday. And this energy was building, and she's laughing and she's having so much fun. Her job went better. Her relationships went better. That's just like by doing one little piece. I've had people who have another client who was just running around doing all the things all the time, who started playing music again. Right. And now she actually, not only did she start just playing and writing songs again, she's now since released her first album. She's going touring. She's on the radio. Her kids are playing with her. Her kids are like touring with her.
Wow.
And showing up on stage, and like and I'm just like, it's just these moments.
It's the Partridge Family.
It could be anything, right? Like it could be like, making dollhouse, like miniature dollhouse. Like I could tell you a million stories. And even just like showing up as yourself and just being like giving yourself the smallest little bit. So some people just need a small crack. Sometimes you got to clear it. Sometimes we look through like, how are you using your time? Maybe you just need to like switch one little habit where instead of you're doing this, you have to make time. Making it just a little bit, because people aren't going to no one wants to make huge changes, and they don't work as well. So just pick something small.
Well, and it's, I think it's the same whether you're home, with the kids or at work. It all boils down to feeling psychologically safe. Yeah. And, that's one of the tenets that most of us, I think, in play push, because when you feel safe, as it's about transparency, authenticity, trust, vulnerability, all those things to be able to be who you really are. And we forget that. As adults are always fearful and judgmental, and they're afraid to be judged. And I think that stops us from the joy that life is.
Yeah. And that's why I love when I get to work one-on-one with people doing these energy clearings, because it was funny this morning, this whole analogy just popped into my head. My husband got me this coffee maker a couple years ago, kind of fancy. Like I never really drank it. I drink like half calf because I get really excited, as you might tell from how fast I start talking to them. So I drink this like half calf. But anyways, it's like sometimes you have this beautiful coffee maker, and then all of a sudden it starts to taste bad. And I'm like, what happened? Like I didn't do anything different. And all of a sudden, like this coffee tastes bad. But you need to do this descaling, right? So we need to do this descaling work on ourselves, where we have these pieces that we don't even know, because outside the coffee maker looks fine, but we need to take all these little pieces off, like these playground moments, or these like your boss comes in and yells at you, or is like, this was your report, you're done with this, or you mess up on like something, like we need to descale. And then sometimes it's like there's these blocks that we don't even know are there, and they might not even be ours. They might just be from other generations or other pieces. So we can clear that, and then we have this ease. And so the more we can do this stuff with a light, playful attitude rather than more work, or even this like self-care notion. Like self-care is great, but like sometimes it's like, oh, I gotta care for myself too now. It's like, how can we make it fun so we want to do it? And how can we bring that lightness to all the crap we have to do anyways?
Right. Therapy.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey?
Therapy for your coffee pot.
I think, from what I have seen, and maybe you've seen this, Laura, that as adults, we tend to just go into victim mode, as opposed to saying, all right, I screwed up. you know, with play, like in improv, we feature failure, and it's like it goes to resilience. And I think play helps you become more resilient as opposed to sticking in the poor me category.
Yeah. Well, for my next book, I'm doing so much research on mindsets, and they're just so fascinating to me. Like all these different mindsets. Like one of my favorite studies is about this exercise where they asked people if they were getting enough exercise. So if you don't think you're getting enough exercise, you might not be getting the full benefits physiologically in your body. And so they took this group of housekeepers. They said, "Are you getting enough exercise?" They said, "No, we're not. We're not doing any exercise. We're just doing our job all day." And then they brought him back. They said, "This is how much calories you burn when you're pushing like the cart down the hall. This is how much it is when you're changing sheets, blah, blah, blah." And they didn't change anything, but they started to experience physiological differences. They were feeling more fit. They were feeling better. They were losing weight. And it's like, that's just by believing it.
Yeah.
So what shifts can we make in our life where we believe we're doing it, right? Right? Because we're going to have to do it anyway. So how can we empower ourselves? So that's what this play mindset is. Like, not all the things are going to be fun. So that's why I talk about being neutral. Some things you can't be fun, but you can at least be neutral or accepting, not be a victim, not be like a martyr. You know, there's all these different, you know, scarcity. There's all these different types of mindsets.
So the book. So how did you, first of all, putting a book together, and second of all, getting a publisher is tough. So how did that? What was that process? How did you?
So go ahead.
No.
Yeah. The first book, okay, so I started writing that one. I was posting all these games. Suddenly I had like over 80 games, and I was working with a coach, right? Because I believe fully not only in being a coach, but having my own coach. I was working with my own personal coach. I was writing this other book, and she's like, you know, suddenly this started realizing this is actually a book. This one here, this play together one, as I'm talking about now, the one that I actually have completed. And so I started working with her, putting it together, and you know what, she was just like, you know, Laura, she goes, "I don't normally do this, but I'm going to introduce you to my publisher." And I was like, whoa, because I was like, this is crazy, right? Because I was at that point before I was competing at beach tennis. So I wasn't building up any platform, or I didn't even use social media really, because from all the happiness studies, I'm like, I don't want to get too much into that. But then I was like, okay, this is a great tool for getting messages out. So suddenly I'm like, well, I don't know that I will be able to get a traditional publishing deal. You know, I studied all the different options, you know, publish like hybrid, self-publishing, traditional. I thought, well, whatever, I don't think that's a possibility. And suddenly it just kind of like came through. I didn't even write a book proposal or get an agent. I just put a small book blurb through to them, and they were like, okay, great. So I got a book deal with Hatherley Press. They're distributed by Penguin Random House, and suddenly it was just this magical thing. But it was all fueled from play, and it was all fueled from this beautiful intention of making a difference and bringing play to families.
And from the time the book was done until it got published, because I know they're working with you, they're editors. Did they do the illustrations, or did you?
Yeah, so I hired an illustrator.
Okay.
So that was a really fun process. I said, I need this to have to have images. I want this to be light and playful. So then I got to work with my illustrator, is actually a friend of mine. And so we went out, we got to go to the coffee shop and talked about each game. And I'm like, how about this one? How about this one? And so we just got to work together on that. And then we went through so many rounds of editing. It was like, I just must have laughed. I kept saying, oh, this is my last edit. This is my last round of edits. And then it just kept coming back and coming back. And so I could totally understand how little typos end up in books, because seriously, you look at your book so many times, you can't even read it anymore. You're just like, what? And then one little thing had changed. And I think I'm pretty good. There aren't too many little things I've noticed, but you know, you just do the best you can.
And did you do the final layout, or did they?
They did the final layout. I actually designed the cover myself, everything they were sending me. I had a strong feel what I wanted it to look like. And yeah, like the whole thing was just really fun. I love design. It's play for me. Design and layout is all, because I worked at the marketing agency, right? So we're web design. So I'm like, I always sort of have an eye for that.
Okay, and so the last question, a lot of publishers won't even look at a book unless you've got a list and you can guarantee you're going to sell X number of copies.
Yeah.
So did you bring that list to them, or that wasn't a requirement?
No, I didn't have to do that. I mean, of course I had to give them my marketing plan,
Right.
and, you know, do all of that. And I love marketing stuff. Like I love talking to like you guys and going on podcasts and pitching media and going on the news. Like I have the best time. I love going on live TV. Something about that is like, I don't know, maybe it's
Fun.
my early, that I said I wanted to do those like TV show. It's fun for me to get it out,
Right.
and share the message. So I definitely have all that.
Fantastic.
Through that.
So if you had two of you, how about, you don't have to do anything. What tips can you give to someone else who wants to, get into play and write a book? Like, how would you give them suggestions?
Getting into play, I would say just think about what you like to do for yourself or what you used to like. And if you get stuck, I have a free playlist planner resource I can share with any listeners to just walk you through based off of Stuart Brown's work of your play history, going over different ages and then planning it in, because that's something I do with people as part of my coaching is like, what are you doing with your time? What are your priorities? So it's like, how do you actually plan it in? Because that makes a difference that you actually start to do it. But as far as writing a book, just start doing it. Like sit down, make a time every day, right? Like I wrote this book during the pandemic when I was working from home. I was homeschooling my kids and just all of that stuff. So I would homeschool the kids in the morning. We'd go run around, do something outside. They would sit and like read and play. And I would come and sit right here and I would work for 1 hour a day. Even if you just have 20 minutes, just sit down and just start. If you don't have anything to write an outline. If you don't have anything to do, doodle. If you don't have anything to do, meditate. I don't know. Just start doing it, but make it fun and make it playful, and then find your people. Like I have a community, author moms. If you're not a mom, you're still welcome to join us, but we meet virtually once a month. We support each other. We talk about ideas, just like, reach out to other authors, go to author events at bookstores, just get into the world. And, we want to hear your story. So if you're listening and you're like, oh, I do have a book, you can reach out to me, but I want to hear your story. Like, so start doing it. Your story matters for people.
Yeah.
I would hope your group would let her play. She's a fur baby mom. And so.
Me. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I am writing a book with that deals in play and yeah.
Yes. All right. Come out and join us. First Monday of the month. We meet. We've been going for a few years now. We have people in all different genres. It's super fun doing things together.
Excellent.
Fantastic.
Jeffrey, anything else?
No, that's great. I really love it. Great description on the book. It's going to give a lot of people hope about, working with publishers. There's always
and so if people want to get in touch with you or look at the website, look at that,
good call.
The play outline that you said, how do they do that?
Oh yeah, you guys can reach out to me on my website, laurahaver.com. You can reach out to me on Instagram. I'm on Laura Haver. I also have Author Moms. I don't post often there, but you can find me. And the last piece I want to say about the publishing is the magical path to publishing. We talk about this all the time in Author Moms, but what might be right for one person might not, and you never know, right? Like sometimes you think, oh, I got this thing, and then something falls through, but then something else opens up. So each book has its own unique path. And so it's just enjoy the ride and just keep working one step at a time to bring it.
And obviously my dog Roscoe is getting in. So it's like, okay, you're talking about play. Now I want to play.
I want to play. Yeah, but yeah, check out the book for families and bring in play. Make it easy, make it fun, just take a little bit at a time. And reach out if you want to clear your descale your coffee maker, anything you want. Like I love doing those
descaled.
I love doing those sessions. Sounds kind of funny. This is my first time I ever brought that one out. So let me know if you think that metaphor is terrible.
I like the metaphor.
I like the descaling.
Would you like to sign up for a descaling appointment? Yes, I do them virtually.
Playful descaling. I don't know if that goes together.
Well, that's the point then, maybe, right? It's like if it sounds stupid and it sounds terrible, it's like how can we make doing the laundry fun when we've been doing laundry a million times, like folding the same pair of clothes over and over? Like how can we make it fun or
Excellent. Good.
Fantastic.
Well, Laura, this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being patient and flexible. We had to change a little bit.
Oh.
And you should join our Play and Ponder group. It's a bunch of us. Well, you met Jeff Harry and Elaine, some of the people from and Gary. We get together once a month for play and talking about what we can do to help bring more play into the world. So I'll get you hooked.
Sounds good. Yeah. And wishing everybody a playful day, and, just keep on going with it.
That's right. Bring that inner child out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else, Jeffrey? Any last thoughts?
No, just a reminder to you. You keep on emphasize our tag about subscribe and
yes. Yeah, please, if you're listening, hit the like button, hit that little bell, subscribe. We could always use the numbers. It does help our channel. It's free, doesn't cost you anything. It's my favorite 4-letter word. Second, play is my first one.
That's so funny. Well, and
Laura,
we have a great
thank you.
banter. I'm going to have to say, I'll give you guys a little plug right now because it's super fun. You guys sound really great. You have like great radio voices if we're going to be back in the day at radio voices. But you guys have a great back and forth. It's super fun. I love listening to your podcast. Like I said, learning about other people. So it's super fun. There's all these little nuggets, and I like the spirit that you guys bring to it is super fun. So
thank you,
I
Laura.
second, subscribe, listen, like, and share with your friends. Ooh, and I'm going to add another one for you guys that authors also love. Leave a review. If you're still listening, go on and leave a review for the podcast, because this helps get the word out, right? They're taking all this time and effort bringing this magic to you guys. And so leave a review, and also leave reviews for all their books. If you like them, leave a review, even a 5-star, boom. Even just a star, right? But leave them a review. I'm going to leave you guys a review as soon as we complete.
Thank you.
Well, so.
Yes, you are in marketing, aren't you? You're coming back next week, and you're going to be here.
I'll be the rotating special. What new analogies have you got for household appliances? Okay,
that's right.
Next week on Biz-Souls.
What can we do with a vacuum cleaner?
You're going to have to put that second book on hold, Laura. We're going to need you for our marketing.
That's right. All right.
Congratulations.
That is what, Jeffrey?
I just said congratulations to her. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
And happy birthday to your book.
No, thank you.
All right. That is it for us. I'm Rona Lewis.
I'm Jeffrey Hansler.
And this has been Biz-Souls. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
You've been listening to the Biz-Souls podcast with your hosts, Rona Lewis and Jeffrey Hansler. Did you have fun? Subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It's very much appreciated. Talk to you next week.